Welcome to Let's Learn Academy. I am Ashika Panikar and today we shall be continuing the rise of nationalism in Europe. This is part 2. Today let us learn about the revolutionaries. Giuseppe Mazzini, born in Genoa in 1807, became a member of the secret society of the Carbonari. As a young man of 24, he was sent into exile in 1831 for attempting a revolution in Liguria. Exile means to remove out from the country. He founded two more underground societies, first Young Italy in Marseilles and then Young Europe in Berne, whose members were like minded young men from Poland, France, Italy, and German states. In the figure, you can see Giuseppe Mazzini and the founding of the Young Europe in Berne 1833. Mazzini believed that God had intended nations to be natural units of mankind. It had to be forged into a single unified republic. Forged means to form or to make or to combine into a single unified republic within a wider alliance of nations. Alliance means cooperation. This unification alone could be the basis of Italian liberty. Following his model, secret societies were set up in Germany, France, Switzerland, and Poland. Mazzini's relentless opposition to monarchy and his vision of democratic republics frightened the conservatives. Metternich described him as the most dangerous enemy of our social order. But we all know that he wasn't bad. He wanted a democratic republic, and that was actually a good thing which he was doing. The Age of Revolutions, 1830 to 1848. The first upheaval took place in France in July 1830. The Bourbon kings, who had been restored to power during the conservative reaction after 1815, were now overthrown by liberal revolutionaries who installed a constitutional monarchy and Louis Philippe at its head. When France sneezes, Metternich once remarked, the rest of Europe catches cold. That was a funny statement which Metternich remarked, but however, he meant that. The July Revolution sparked an uprising in Brussels, which led to Belgium breaking away from the United Kingdom of the Netherlands. Greece had been part of the Ottoman Empire since the 15th century. The growth of revolutionary nationalism in Europe sparked off a struggle for independence amongst the Greeks, which began in 1821. Just like in India, people fought against the British rule, they also fought against for their independence. Nationalists in Greece got support from other Greeks living in exile. Living in exile means those people who were removed out from the country, removed from Greece, and who were staying out. And also from many West Europeans who had sympathies for ancient Greek culture. So there were other Europeans also who were supporting the Greek people. Poets and artists lauded Greece as the cradle of European civilization. Lauded means to admire or to praise. So, poets and artists lauded Greece as the cradle of European civilization. Cradle means someone or some country or some place which is protective towards its people, and mobilized public opinion to support its struggle against a Muslim empire. The English poet Lord Byron organized funds and later went to fight in the war, where he died of fever in 1824. Finally, the Treaty of Constantinople of 1832 recognized Greece as an independent nation. So, remember the name of the treaty which led to Greece to be an independent nation, that is the Treaty of Constantinople of 1832. Another important event is the 1848, the Revolution of the Liberals. In the German regions, a large number of political associations whose members were middle class professionals, businessmen, and prosperous artisans came together in the city of Frankfurt and decided to vote for all German National Assembly. On 18 May 1848, 831 elected representatives marched in a festive procession to take their places in the Frankfurt Parliament since they all had one convent in the Church of St. Paul. They drafted a constitution for a German nation to be headed by a monarchy subject to a parliament. So that's how they made their constitution for the German nation. When the deputies means the assistant officers or the assistant ministers are called deputy ministers. When the deputies offered the crown on these terms to Frederick William IV, King of Prussia, he rejected it and joined other monarchs to oppose the elected assembly. While the opposition of the aristocracy and the military became stronger, the social basis of parliament eroded. So that's how the social status of that parliament collapsed somehow. The parliament was dominated by the middle classes who resisted the demands of workers and artisans and consequently lost their support. They did not support actually those, the middle class people did not support the people who are lower class or those who are workers or artisans. So eventually the middle class were not going to get any support from the workers or artisans. In the end, troops were called in and the assembly was forced to disband, and that's how it collapsed. Though conservative forces were able to suppress liberal movements in 1848, they could not restore the old order. Monarchs were beginning to realize that the cycles of revolution and repression could only be ended by granting concessions to the liberal nationalist revolutionaries. Obviously, they had to show some support towards the revolutionaries who were liberal nationalists. Hence, in the years after 1848, the autocratic monarchies of Central and Eastern Europe began to introduce the changes that had already taken place in Western Europe before 1815. Thus, serfdom and bonded labor were abolished both in the Habsburg dominions and in Russia. The Habsburg rulers granted more autonomy. Autonomy means self rule to the Hungarians in 1867. Hunger, hardship, and popular revolt that occurred during this period. The 1830s were years of great economic hardship in Europe. People did not have any money, people did not have any food, or they did not have the basic needs which they wanted. The first half of the 19th century saw an enormous increase in the population all over Europe. In most countries, there were more seekers of job than employment. That means people who wanted job were more, but those much amount of job opportunities were not available. Population from rural areas migrated. Migrated means shifted to the cities to live in overcrowded slums. Slums means the area where usually people belonging to poverty stay, but due to the overcrowdedness, they had to move. Small producers in towns were often faced with stiff competition from imports of cheap machine made goods from England, where industrialization was more advanced than on the continent. This was especially so in textile production, which was carried out mainly in homes or small workshops and was only partly mechanized. In those regions of Europe where the aristocracy still enjoyed power, peasants struggled under the burden of feudal dues and obligations. The farmers had to struggle and on one side while the people who were ruling were enjoying their lives. The rise of food prices or a year of bad harvest led to widespread pauperism in town and country. Pauperism means a sort of a disaster when you are not able to live a good life. The year 1848 was one such year. Food shortages and widespread unemployment brought the population of Paris out on the roads. Barricades were erected and Louis Philippe was forced to flee. National Assembly proclaimed a republic, granted suffrage to all adult males above 21, and guaranteed the right to work. National workshops to provide employment were set up so that more and more people could get jobs. Earlier in 1845, weavers in Silesia had led a revolt against contractors who supplied them raw material and gave them orders for finished textiles but drastically reduced their payments. Even though they were providing enough amount or the asked amount of textiles, they were not paid well. The making of Germany and Italy. Germany and Italy came to be unified as nation states. As you have seen, nationalist feelings were widespread among middle class Germans who in 1848 tried to unite the different regions of the German Confederation into a nation state governed by an elected parliament. This liberal initiative means a beginning or a start to nation building, was however repressed by the combined forces of monarchy. Even though they were monarchy single people, but still they combined and they fought against the people who were demanding an elected parliament and military supported by the large landowners called Junkers of Prussia. From then on, Prussia took on the leadership of the movement for national unification. Its chief minister, Otto von Bismarck, was the architect of this process carried out with the help of the Prussian army and bureaucracy. Three wars over 7 years with Austria, Denmark, and France ended in the Prussian victory. Finally, Prussia won and completed the process of unification. In January 1871, the Prussian King William I was proclaimed a German emperor in a ceremony held at Versailles. On the bitterly cold morning of 18th January 1871, an assembly comprising the princes of the German states, representatives of the army, important Prussian ministers, including the chief minister Otto von Bismarck, gathered in the unheated Hall of Mirrors in the place of Versailles to proclaim the new German Empire headed by Kaiser William I of Prussia. The nation building process in Germany had demonstrated the dominance of Prussian state power. The new state placed a strong emphasis on modernizing the currency, banking, legal, and judicial systems in Germany. Prussian measures and practices often became a model for the rest of Germany. And this map shows you the Italian states before unification 1858 on the left, and on the right you can see Italy after unification. Nationalism and imperialism. The most serious source of nationalist tension in Europe after 1871 was the area called the Balkans. The Balkans was a region of geographical and ethnic variation comprising modern day Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, Greece, Macedonia, Croatia, Bosnia Herzegovina, Slovenia, Serbia, and Montenegro, whose inhabitants were broadly known as the Slavs. Slavs are the people who stayed at those places. A large part of the Balkans was under the control of the Ottoman Empire. The spread of the ideas of romantic nationalism in the Balkans, together with the disintegration of the Ottoman Empire, made this region very explosive. All through the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire had sought to strengthen itself through modernization and internal reforms, but with very little success. Even though they were not up to the mark, but still they kept on trying to modernize everything. So, here we finish our chapter, The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. See you in the next video with another new lesson.